Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back in the building, people. It's your boy Jason Gooner, and we are here to have a big discussion today. All things female football with the Jamaican national teams, both the U-20 and the Senior Reggae Girlz. This is another episode of Reasoning Time. This is episode 7 now. Of course, pretty much Reasoning Time is always going to be geared towards Jamaican football. Whatever is going on at the current time, whatever topics I would like to address. Today's program is going to be geared towards the female side of things. We definitely just had the recently concluded under 20 Concacaf Qualifiers. Of course, we're trying to get to the U-20 championship, which is where the 4 places from CONCACAF would be filled to go to the U-20 World Cup for the females. Of course, some of you may know Jamaica fell just short. They would have had to have won their group. They fell short to the host of nation of the group, Nicaragua, in their final game. They needed a win. Had that 1-0 lead well into the 80th minute and ended up conceding from a free kick late to seal our fate and make us fall one step short, similar to the U17 boys. So we're going to just have a discussion around that U20 qualifiers, what we saw. So there were some surprises in some other groups that we want to talk about as well. And definitely going to give some time to that U20 team, give my thoughts on, where we fell short, what we can do to improve moving forward. And then the second part of the show is going to be geared towards our senior team, which is in Peru currently. We had some press conferences out with the coach and also streaming same time as Mannings man. I have to check him before the Peru game. Oh, wow. I didn't know that Mannings was live. Is he live right now? Well, yeah, I have the afternoon is going to be very, very, very full. So yeah, I didn't mean to be streaming the same time, but this is when I can stream. I won't be around later when the game is going on with the girls, so I can't do a live stream for that. And I wanted to get some content out around that U20 women's team as well. So yeah, hopefully it's not too much of a back and forth, but you don't know, this content does not go away after it's live. So you guys want to watch Mannings Man live, watch me later, that's fine, or vice versa. Yeah, Drew, me just realize, bro, me just click on the live on the YouTube and I see say Mannings literally I start film show now. John Star, I never mean for that, but it is what it is, bro. This is the time I have right now for today. I have a lot of things going on this evening, and I really wanted to just do a live stream for the Reggae Girls today, but it's just not going to work out with the time of the game and the kickoff, and some things have to get started in the evening today. So yeah. So El Meek said me watch him later. Yeah, bro. Either way, I know a lot of people, as far as YouTube channels are concerned, probably, watch all the channels. So I'm not gonna feel anyway, whichever one you choose right now to watch live. Just know that the content will be there to watch on the replay. I do have the live chat definitely on the replay as well, so you can follow along as if you were here in real time. But people, I'm gonna give the time, as I said today. We spoke in at length about the U17s when they had their failure. Well, yes, I'd say failure to qualify, and then the girls as well. So what I wanted to do was just CC says here in real time. Big up yourself, CC, in the building. All of those who watch JD's show today, big up JD as well. If you don't know about his channel, IMAX It Football, make sure to give it a check. Definitely one of the straightest talkers in the space, I would say. Maybe not the most palatable to some Jamaican fans, but I think anybody that is okay with listening to the truth would like it. Today there was a little part at the end there talking about CC and his performance as a color commentator in the 2 games against Trinidad. This just won't die, CC. It keeps on growing legs and growing life again. But yeah, man, big up yourself same way. And I rated you, gave you some pointers. Hopefully, if you have the chance to do it in the future, you'll take my advice. See? Big up Jean-Pierre. Continue the good works, my brother. If you are not subscribed to Jean-Pierre Fan, please do so. Another source of great information when it comes to the JPL, getting on the ground, giving you match highlights of fixtures that aren't televised, and also good solid reviews and previews as well. just definitely someone that you can tell is passionate about the JPL and wants to bring across that passion through his content. So yeah, big up yourself, JPL fan. Keep putting in the work. Keep it up, CC, and do your research. Yeah, man. I hope that you don't take these things as bad mind or hating or nothing like that, bro. Just sometimes you might need to just get a little bit better. That's all. Nothing is wrong with that. All right. So what I wanted to do, people, is I wanted to pull up the delegation that went to this U-20 tournament, because I hear a lot of people asking about the what you call it now. A lot of people asking about the a lot of people are asking about who coached the team, all these things. So I wanted to let you guys know what the technical staff was that went over on this trip. I have it somewhere. Let me pull it up. Don't know why it's not there, but let me pull it up here. Hold on, I had it pulled up, but it looked like I did close it. So let me just find it back. While I'm doing that, people, share the content, like the video as well. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel. Well, you'll have to today because I do have subscribers only mode. So if you want to leave your comments, have any thoughts, anything that you hear me talking about you disagree with, definitely this is an open forum where we welcome all opinions, and we definitely can have a discussion. We're all grown-ups here, so we don't need to really go to the name calling and things of that nature. So I am just trying to find the article that I was looking at. Okay, here we go. Where's the one that had the? I'm looking for the one that had the I'm looking for the one that had the delegation on the actual article. All right, if I can't find it here, let me go here. Elmix was able to distinguish my voice from the main commentator. This man's still a CC. I will say that the other commentator who was doing the main commentary was worse than you, but that doesn't mean that you were good just the same. Any details regarding their recruitment to the management team, that is why they were chosen. Yeah, so that's really what I want to talk about as well. Yes, I can identify your voice when you call in on various platforms. Yeah, CC, you have a identifiable voice, bro. So I think people know it was when it was you and when it was the other person. Where is it? Oh, 5. No, that's not it. Confirm. Yo. Okay, here we go. think this should have it here. So one thing that was a bit strange is, leading up to this tournament, there was a coaching change, right? And some of you might not know this. If you remember, leading up to this tournament, it was Hugh Bradford that was slated to be the coach of the team. Now, we saw that change happen prior to the Jewel of the Caribbean tournament because it was Leecraft Letman that was over there with them for that tournament. So that was the first thing I thought was a bit of a red flag. There was not much news around Hugh Bradford's removal. Um, I've gathered that he was just relieved of his duties. Where have we heard that before? Going into a U-20 tournament, we had the similar issue with the boys when it was John Wall's team. He was relieved of his duties, and then Jerome Waite was brought in. Something very similar happened with this girls' team. Hugh Bradford was removed, and Leecraft Letman was put in as the head coach. Now I know his support staff, he would have had Xavier Gilbert with him, which I thought was a bit surprising as well, seeing that Xavier Gilbert is the coach we turned to when we lost our coach for the Senior Reggae Girlz team, Lauren Donaldson, and we were kind of in between selecting the next head coach. Xavier Gilbert became the caretaker head coach for our Gold Cup qualifiers. So I was a bit taken aback by the fact that Xavier Gilbert, who would have managed at the senior level for the Reggae Girlz, was chosen to be the assistant to Leecraft Letman. Now that could be Leecraft Letman has a bit more history coaching the youth teams than Xavier, maybe, but I just thought that was a bit strange, knowing that Xavier was who we turned to coach the Senior Reggae Girlz, a higher level of competition at one point. I would have thought if Xavier is in the coaching staff, wouldn't it make more sense for him to be the head coach himself? But that's just me from the outside looking in, trying to make sense of everything. Didn't quite make sense to me. Now, as far as the delegation is concerned, let me see if I can find the actual people that went in terms of the other coaches. I know Letman and Gilbert would have been the two that I'm very aware of, but I know they would have had a goalkeeper coach with them, physio, a doctor, and a team manager. So I'm just trying to get that information. I had it, and my phone yesterday was going crazy because I didn't have any space. So I did a lot of deleting of files and thing, and I could very well have deleted that actual thing, which would be very sad because I had it ready to show you guys, but I'm not seeing it. So, all right, let's just move on to the players then. So, for the players, people, let me just put this on screen. This was an article that was in Nationwide News. And not Nationwide, Irie FM, sorry. And Irie FM, Dwight Fraser, big up yourself. He wrote this article February 17 when the girls were about to leave. And basically, this is what it said. Jamaica's under-20 Reggae Girlz are all set to compete in the upcoming Concacaf Under-20 Women's World Cup Qualifiers set to take place in Nicaragua from February 20 to 25. Among the talented squad, West Bromwich Albion striker Una Lu, who is one of 7 overseas-based players named to represent the country. Jamaica has been drawn in Group D, where they will face host Nicaragua as well as St. Kitts and Nevis and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. In addition to Lu, the other overseas-based players include Kayla Raghunandanan, Maya Raghunandanan, Jalea McPherson, Alyssa Stevenson, Avery Johnson, and London Phoenix. The strong local contingent features 7 players from the Women's Premier League champions Fraser's Whip, including Tiny Seaton, Destiny Powell, Tavia Gale, Andreen Smith, Danielle Beckford, Cassandra Smith, and Akeelia Johnson. Also joining the squad are Shanae Ashley from Rayners Academy, Sajane Anderson of Vere United, Daylan Daly of Real Bay FC, and the unattached pair of Ariel Lindo and Brittany Gregory. The Jamaicans will open their campaign on Wednesday, February 20 against St. Vincent and the Grenadines before taking on St. Kitts, and then the final group stage match will be against Nicaragua on Monday, February 24th. So that was on February the 17th. But what the reason why I wanted to show you that was when the squads actually came out from CONCACAF, team was a little bit different. So I want to show you guys the official team that was put out by CONCACAF for this competition. So the women's under 20. Let's see. So we want to see all the news. So we just want to see the news from the U-20. All right, let's see the rosters. Where are the rosters? I'm going to get the official rosters up, people, and see what's going on there. Rosters confirm. All right, here we go. All right, let me get this on the stream. I thought Rudolph Speed talked about the head coach for national teams having to have some badges. Do you know anything about Letman? I believe Letman is in that group, that if him don't have the A now, he's currently like getting it. I could be wrong. I don't want to misspeak on where he has reached, but I know he was in that group of candidates for the A that were close. But let me show you guys the Jamaica roster in full. And this is the official roster. So let's see how close IRFM was, Mr. Fraser. So this was the team that went. So goalkeeper Sajane Anderson from Veer. Then you have Kayla Raghunandanan. That's the little sister of Maya. Or maybe they're actually twins, to be honest. So interesting that Maya has been coming to play for us for a long time, and I haven't seen Kayla before this one. They both play for our club in Philadelphia. I know Kayla is a freshman at Villanova. I'm not sure what Maya's school is, to be honest. But I know Kayla goes to Villanova in Philly. Then we have Tavia Gale from Fraser's Whip, central defender. She's listed as a forward there, but I'm pretty sure she plays defense. Shanae Ashley, Reina's Academy. Jaylia Cox McPherson, I would say probably the best player on this team. She doesn't go to Memphis. She actually goes to FIU, if I'm not mistaken. So Florida International. She's from Canada, though. That's where she got her development. Then you have Andreen Smith, Fraser's Whip. Interestingly, on the CONCACAF team sheets for the games, she was listed as a Los Perfectos player, and we know that she has been training with Craig Butler as well at Phoenix. So Andreen definitely representing a lot of different entities, but Andreen, one of the better players as well, I would say, in this team. Then we have Alyssa Stevenson from Northern Illinois University, another player developed in Canada but plays her collegiate football in the States. I thought she was a very good find for this team. Hadn't seen her in any previous U17s or any other youth teams from Jamaica. So definitely good job recruiting and finding her. I think she's one that we can watch for the future as she develops. Then Maya, of course, mainstay in the youth teams for a while now. We've seen her since she was a little 14, 15-year-old playing U17. Now she has, matriculated to the U-20 and still one of the better players on the team, Maya Raghunandanan. Then we have Tiny Seaton, a converted player. She used to play right back, but looks like she has in her collegiate exploits in America, because she is in college now playing. She has been converted to an attacker or a striker. Can also operate on the wing as well. Was deployed as a striker or winger for Jamaica in this tournament. Destiny Powell, another name that you should know if you follow the youth teams of Jamaica, plays for Fraser's Whip as well. She's a central midfielder. really wanted Destiny to kick on a little bit more, to be honest. But we'll talk more about individuals and their performances as we go through the show. Unalu was the one player from England brought over. She's an attacker, a forward. Rough go of it in the last game in particular, which we'll talk about. But yeah, we'll talk a bit about the players. As I said, we're just going to go through the names for now. Avery Johnson, another one that came over from the US. We have seen her in teams in the past as well. She's now at Charlotte Soccer Academy in North Carolina. Definitely will keep track of her. Some things I think she can work on moving forward, but definitely you can see that some talent is there. Solange Brown was another goalkeeper. From the island as well, living in Jamaica. Zoe Zadie is the player that wasn't listed on the anywhere on the team list, but on IRI FM, but she was definitely a part of the squad. Let me see if I can find. I know there was a team sheet released, because I think some of these unattached here, they were assigned clubs on the actual team sheet for the day. Daylan Daly, she's from Real Mobile FC. She's a defender. She was in the team as well. Brittany Gregory also was unattached from Jamaica, but she's in the team. Ariel Lindo, we've seen before as well on some of these teams. She was there as well. Then you have Danielle Beckford from Fraser's Whip, another defender. Cassandra Smith, we have seen on these teams as well. I think she was in that Jewel of the Caribbean tournament, getting a lot of game time. She was in this team, Cassandra Smith from Fraser's Whip. And we have Akeelia Johnson, was playing right back against Nicaragua. She is from Fraser's Whip as well. And then London Phoenix was our starting goalkeeper. She's from FC Prime in the USA. If you're following along with the boys team as well, we had a few players from FC Prime in the in the boys under 17 as well. So, or maybe one or two or one. So we've seen that name before as a potential, feeder to the Jamaican teams. So yeah, that's basically the squad in full. So let's see, we had, I don't really care so much about this, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there were 7 based overseas, and I'm not sure. I think Zoe, it says unattached Jamaica, but I'm pretty sure Zoe does player trade overseas as well. I could be wrong, but I feel like she lives overseas, Zoe Zadie. She was wearing the number 14. Got some game time predominantly off the bench. I think she started one of the games, but I think she came off the bench for 2. So yeah, Zoe Zadie, decent little midfielder, like what I saw. Took a nice shot at the end of the game as well. So she's one to watch out for moving forward. But that was the full team that went. So we took 21 players, 3 goalkeepers, 18 outfield. Now, if you put your mind back to when I was talking about, they're twins. Was there a forced local cap for this team? I am not sure. I don't think that the girls' teams have such a stringent cap and it's talked about as much. I think that may change in the future though, as we try to develop the game locally some more and have more leagues and competitions for them to play. But I think it's not the same as with the boys, because I think some of the clubs that run the teams in Jamaica, they would have more of a say as far as, they think that the opportunities need to come from the national team for them to be able to sell the players. So I don't know if the girls' game has gotten to that point in Jamaica yet. So I don't think there's such pushback against overseas players joining. But yeah, you're right. Tiny Seaton, you could say we should count as an overseas player as well, because she does play her football currently overseas in college. So yeah, technically the way you want to look at it, it could be 8 or 9 if you count Tiny Seaton, but I'll say it's 8 and 12. So 1, I'm counting Zoe Zadie 2, Avery Johnson 3, Unalu 4, Tiny Seaton 5, Maya and Kayla 6 and 7, Alyssa 8, and Jaylee 9. So Yeah, 9 out of the 21, I would say. So 12 local and 9 overseas. And some of those overseas would have been born in Jamaica, but they now play overseas. So we're going to count them as overseas players as well. So yeah. Ooh, second eye surgery recovery. Blessings, Jason. Keep up the good work. What time is Peru Jamaica game? Peru Jamaica game is same time as it was Sunday, so 4 o'clock on the Eastern time zone. Which I think you are in Canada as well, Warren. So big up yourself. Hope you have a speedy recovery. And yeah, man, if you want to type and stay engaged that way, we definitely encourage that. But this was the team for Jamaica that went to the qualifiers, as I said. I count 9 that play overseas and 12 that play locally. But I think, as I was saying before, if you harken your mind back to when we did the episode about the U-17 boys, one of the main things I thought was an issue for us was when it came time for things to change in game. I don't believe that the coach fully trusted everybody in his lineup. And I think when you were everybody that was watching this final game against Nicaragua, which ended 1-1, we took the lead in the first half and Andreen Smith scoring a beautiful goal. And you could see in that second half as Nicaragua started to, obviously, they're down, they know they need a goal, they're going to push for it. I didn't see many adjustments made by Lee Craft-Letman. It looked as if a lot of the girls on the field were tiring. Tiny Seaton was playing as a lone striker, which I thought, based on the options in the squad, maybe wasn't the best idea. I think maybe the thinking now that I look back and I watch the game again was Tiny Seaton could have run in behind, which she did a few times. She had 2 breakaways, one in the first half that was more of a half chance. The one in the second half I thought was a much bigger chance. But I thought that, we didn't really. I don't think in the first half Nicaragua necessarily pressed us. I think they were trying to play the long game. They knew they needed a draw, so they were just trying to conserve energy a bit, I thought. They were more in a mid-block, I thought, in the first half. Second half, as the time started to go, they started to press a bit more. So I could understand our defenders going a bit more direct, just not to take any chances. But I thought in the first half, when they were giving us that time to make these decisions, make and possess the ball a bit, we could have taken a bit more advantage of that. With our midfielders really showing more for the ball, the likes of Destiny Powell, the likes of Avery Johnson in that midfield area. I would have loved to see them more confident and more willing to kind of get the ball off of the right backs, the center backs, the left back. But it looked like most Jamaican teams, there was a bypass of that midfield a lot. And the ball, I thought we had more joy when the ball was played direct to Andreen. She was able to hold it up a little bit better. I was listening to this the second time I watched the game. I listened to it with the commentary, and I thought it was interesting that the commentator mentioned that he thought Tiny Seaton was doing a good job of holding the ball up. And I'm saying, I don't know what he's talking about. She had maybe 2 good hold up plays in that first half. One where she turned really nicely on the half turn and ran at the defense, which ended up in a shot, not on target, but a shot on goal. And then she had another one where I thought she did the right thing when you're a player of that stature. Come drop a little bit deeper so you're not fighting with the 2 center backs. And she did that, was able to link the play. And I think what ended up happening on that particular one, that was the play when it was early in the game. That was the play when Andreen got it down the wing and sent the cross in, which Tiny tried to put in, missed her, and Alyssa hit off the crossbar. One of the better chances I thought we created in the game. But those opportunities where we got Andreen or even Alyssa isolated 1v1 on the wings or in a 2v1 with their fullback that's on that side were few and far between. I think a part of the reason for that was the style the way we're trying to get forward most of the time was Jalia or one of either the left back or the right back or even the other center back, who would have been Tavia Gill. I thought that she was the main one. They were the main ones trying to play that ball to Tiny. And Nicaragua, while they're not the biggest team in the world, they did have some size on their back line, and you could see the size difference with Tiny. Tiny did have the speed on them, but the thing with Tiny is, if you lean on her at the right time, it can really throw her off, and that really kind of lessens that gap of the pace, because you can't really just use the pace if unless you're far enough away to not get that bounce. And I think they did a good job of just putting a body on her, getting her off balance to where she couldn't really be as effective as she wanted to be. So as a coach, I don't know if the game plan was to go direct to Tiny, but that was happening a lot. And even a situation where the coach could have moved the deck around a bit. Andreen, while she was really effective on the right, I think she's the type of player that you could have given Tiny a run on the right side, put a more target player up front. Even switch Andreen, switch Tiny and Alyssa for a couple of minutes. See if Alyssa can hold the ball up. I know she's a winger, but she has a bit more size than Tiny. I just feel like in-game adjustments is something that a lot of our coaches are lacking. And while I can beat the coaches for that, or while I can, take away some of the beating for sometimes maybe them not making the adjustments because they don't trust the players, I think you have to also beat them because they're the ones picking the players. So if you're going to pick a team of 18 outfield players, and what I've seen in a lot of these youth setups, and even sometimes with the senior men's team as well, the coach only trusts like 14 of the outfield players. So there are glaring things going on in the game where you see legs tiring, you see maybe a player not having their best game, and we are afraid to make that adjustment because we just feel like I'd rather keep on this player for that moment when they might get it right, as opposed to bringing on a player that I don't necessarily trust. And I think this happens too often at this level. I don't know if we can lay the blame at the foot of the whole quota, because a lot of times, again, there are players in this tournament that I don't think the coach would have trusted in this game, right? So Cassandra Smith came on late when Andreen was dead. So if Andreen never asked to come off, I don't think we see Cassandra Smith play. We didn't see Danielle Beckford. We didn't see Ariel Lindo. We didn't see Brittany Gregory. Those are three players that on the team, the coach, I don't believe, had any trust in them. We never saw Dale Daly in this last game. We saw Zoe Zadie come on late. I thought that was a mistake. I thought the midfield was needing fresh legs a lot earlier. Zoe, while she's not the fastest player in the world, I do think that she has a decent football IQ just based on the touches she takes and the position she takes up on the field. So, sometimes I think we get so caught up in the physical. How fast are they? How much them run? How fast them run? How strong are they? And I think sometimes we don't place enough emphasis on like the cerebral sides of the game, spatial awareness. How many times does a player scan before receiving the ball? Little things that, someone like myself who considers, I think I watch a little bit below the surface of the game. So I'll look at things of that nature. Like, how did she receive the ball in this area? Was she aware of her surroundings when she received the ball? Little things like that. And that's the type of stuff I saw from Zoe in the limited minutes that I liked. Avery Johnson, I think with her, I think she can get around the pitch a bit better. I think she was looking like, the fitness was a bit of an issue. I know Nicaragua is a bit of higher altitude as well, so that could have played into it as well. But I think also what plays into it even more is the coach trusts Avery and maybe doesn't trust some of the other midfield options as much, so she's overworked in a 3-game tournament. Una Lu, the one player that came over from England for this tournament, looked decent in the first 2 games, I thought. Definitely a player that, based on how we were playing the 3rd game, she would have been the most obvious choice to play where Tiny was playing. But she was chosen to come off the bench for this game. And when she came on, she wasn't even deployed up front. She was deployed on the wing, which I thought was strange. But yeah, Una Lu, again, you have to look at the coaching there. What was she really utilized to her best? I would have to say no. I mean, I saw her playing up front for a time in one of the other games, but she was playing wide as well for the majority of the time, which I thought was a bit strange. Destiny Powell, a player that, seems to be in the Jamaican contingent of the players, or the local contingent of the players, one of the ones that is looked at in the highest of esteem. But I'm going to be honest, people, I don't see the progression that I would like to see from Destiny. I think she's still making some mistakes that we saw from at the U-17 time. She has gotten stronger, gotten faster, But again, I think with her, I think it's just about decision making more than anything. You can see she has talent. She has good first touch. She has a bit of tricks as well on the ball. Can get out of pressure well. But her decision making leaves a lot to be desired. When to speed the pace of the game, when to slow the pace down. When to go one touch, when to go two touch, when to take some extra touches. These are the things I think she really needs work on. So hopefully, as I said, you can see talent is there. You can see, her first touch is very good. Pretty clean on the ball as well. But again, just the decision making sometimes I just don't really agree with some of that. Then Tiny Seaton, a player that I have a lot of time for. At the other age group, she was playing right back, as I said, was a live wire up and down the flanks. She has been converted by her college coach in America to a striker, and Lee Craft-Letman went ahead with that as well, played her up front. Now, I thought that with her speed and the way she plays, she would have maybe been better suited to play on the flank, especially knowing that you have other forwards in the team that have a bit more size. And I've just explained most of the time we're going direct to the forward. So, the size definitely would be helpful to bring others into play, namely somebody like Tiny running off Unalu with her back to goal, I think would have been more effective. Maya played in this tournament multiple roles. She played wide, she played up front in a false nine role a couple of times. Also played in midfield as the most forward midfielder of the three in midfield. So yeah, Maya definitely had a few different areas on the pitch. She was effective. With Maya, I think it's just sometimes trusting her teammates. I think she has the same issue that her coaches have, not really trusting everyone on the pitch, maybe going for that, long shot when maybe a better option is there. So that's the only thing with Maya that I would say. Looks like she's filled out a bit as well, a bit stronger on the field. Kayla now needs to start getting on the same diet, because Kayla, you can see maybe Maya is fighting her for all the meals and Kayla not getting them, because Kayla very tiny compared to Maya, even though they're the exact same age. But yeah, Alyssa Stevenson, again, I thought a good find. I think with Alyssa, for her, the biggest struggle I saw was just fitness. She was way more effective in every first half. Definitely saw a drop off in the second halves. And again, maybe when she's subbed off, it's not quite the same in reserve that can replace her with that same effectiveness, right? So Alyssa, a good player, I think just needs to work on her fitness some more, and get a little more used to the international level and the Concacaf level, right? Andreen Smith, definitely one of the better players, I would say, throughout the tournament. Definitely one that a lot of Jamaicans have high hopes for. I am hopeful that she will get a move overseas. I know personally of a coach in the States that was really interested in getting her to come play, but I think that Andreen's focus is on trying to secure a professional contract. So, Andreen, whatever your, agent, handlers, parents, whoever is really taking care of you with football, just whatever decision you decide to make, just go all out for it. I think you have the talent. I think with you, it's just going to be discipline, making sure that you're staying on top of your fitness as well. Because I know it's a struggle in Jamaica sometimes to stay at that top level in terms of fitness with not so many games to play as a female, right? So, Andreen, I'm hopeful that you can get off the island soon, so that your development can increase even faster. Jalia Cox McPherson, great find for Jamaica. I think she has a lot of things to work on still. Not saying she's the perfect article just yet, but I just love her leadership, the way she constantly is talking to her team. Has a bit of a rough streak in her as well. Definitely not shying away from challenges. Puts her body on the line for the team. Would like her to just improve her distribution a bit. Definitely like the way she tries to break the lines on the ground sometimes with her passes. But yeah, just need her to work on her accuracy when she does go with those long passes. But I would say she definitely was the main outlet out of the back line for Jamaica throughout the tournament. And yeah, I just think I'm going to be very interested to track her and her improvement. I would think that Coach Busby as well, even though it seems like we have quite a few centre backs playing really well in Division 1 right now. And 3 of them are actually in the national setup, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Jalia definitely would be one I'd be watching as well. Shanae Ashley didn't get much game time back there, but she was in the squad as well. And then Tavia Gale was the other starting centre back from Fraser's Whip. And I think, to be fair to her, she had a decent performance in this tournament as well. I would say her and Andreen of the Fraser's Whip contingent definitely impressed me the most. And then Kayla was the starting left back on occasion. She started the last game against Nicaragua. I think for such a small player, definitely has a lot of fight in terms of the ground duels. I think her main concern, if I'm saying what she needs to develop, is the aerials. I think she was definitely a bit afraid sometimes of going into those challenges. Definitely decided to play that second ball when the real option was to go ahead and jump and challenge for that first aerial. So that's something Kayla needs to work on as her development grows. I'm sure she'll get challenged in that way at Villanova. And she's listed as a midfielder. Maybe she actually plays midfield for Villanova. I'm not going to lie and say I've seen her play for Villanova, but she was a freshman last year, and I'd be surprised if she's playing fullback at that level, just based on what I've seen at that level. And then Sajane Anderson was the other goalkeeper. She would have been playing, if London got injured or something like that. I think Sajane was that second string goalkeeper for this team. So that's basically a rundown of all the players, my thoughts on each player, what players can work on and stuff like that. But let's just talk a little bit about that Nicaragua game. As I said, people, it was another heartbreaker for Jamaica. Definitely just a tough one to swallow, to be honest. Had a very, very long back and forth conversation about the game almost all night after the game was over. And it was very interesting to hear someone's perspective that was actually in the stadium compared to me watching the game. Because I was of the mindset that Nicaragua was clearly the better team on the day. And basically, the argument was that, it really was not that far apart. And he actually was arguing that Jamaica was actually the better team on the day. So, yeah. Elmeek said Lou should have started. Yeah, I probably would have started Lou as well. I probably would have just done a like for like sub and bench Tiny and start Lou, because I think Tiny's effectiveness with the speed might have come even more in handy later in the game when they're chasing, especially if we would have been able to get that 1-0 lead like we were able to. I think Tiny coming on is maybe more of a threat than Una coming on. Una is more of a touch player, wants to link up play with people, not really going to give you that speed running in behind that Tiny gives you. Definitely has the size difference, but I thought earlier in the game when we're trying to make it stick up front and include players running onto the striker, Una would have had more in the bag for that skill set, Big up Nitro, what go on, bro? Yeah, man, make them know, Drew. Like, share, and subscribe. Like up the show. By having a unified system of play, will that help our consistency and get more results, Jason? Yeah, I would say that would help, because the thing is, well, look, honestly, I think right now, if you look at world football, it's going way more to a game model thing. So, like a team like USA, for example, they're not going to play the exact same when they play Jamaica as they play when they play Mexico, let's say. There are going to be different things that they put into the game model that would be better off to play a team like Mexico than Jamaica. So I think, when you talk about the core principles, yes, that needs to be something set in stone. Like, but I feel like we need to do a better job of going with the times of football, and that is, in any given game, you might change the style of play based on what you need to do. We should just familiarize ourselves with all the different ways you can play. High pressing, low block, mid block, counter attacking, emphasis on the wing play. These are different game models that teams use at any given time to be the most effective. And I think that's what we need to advance our thinking towards. I think sometimes we get so caught up on we need a system of play, we need a style of play. Well, that might not work in every instance and every minute of a 90-minute game. You're going to have to change. So I do think, though, that there needs to be some core principles in place that can, go from men, women, all the way down, all the age groups. picking players on merit wouldn't be a bad idea. Just need to convince the JFF. Absolutely. I think one of the biggest issues, bro, is just the player selection. And, in real time when we watch the games and we're cussing, why isn't the coach changing anything? Why isn't the coach changing anything? Well, if you guys had watched the previous games, the players that come on for the players that start, typically the goal threat goes down, the goals go down, the ability on the pitch goes down. And when you're in a tighter ball game, you don't want that drop off to happen. So you're reluctant to freshen things up. And that's a byproduct of not maybe getting the best players possible to play at all times. Because too many times I hear commentators about the Jamaica team saying, well, we have a squad of 21 for the youth and 23 for the older teams. How many of those players going to actually play? We have to get out of that mentality. If you have an availability at the senior level for 20 outfield players, you would like to pick 20 players that the coach will call upon and not feel like, damn, I'm going to give away the game, right? But we constantly want to say, no, man, there's a space for this guy or this girl and this girl because they need the exposure. Well, the problem is these coaches don't need the exposure for them. These coaches need to win or we're going to beat them. So instead of exposing the player that we put on the team for exposure, the coach don't play them. So they just got exposed to training. That's it. They don't get game time. And then we're beating the coach just the same because he didn't change anything. Well, maybe he doesn't think that he can trust the players to change anything. And that's what we need to, that's why I think it's imperative that we stop having this mindset that any team will have, it's okay to have 3, 4, 5 passengers, so to speak, that we might not play. No, because they don't know what's going to happen in these games. Players get tired faster than you thought. They get injuries, they get cards. The next card they'll be suspended. So they don't want to play the player. So there's a lot of variables that happen during these tournaments, especially that we need to stop saying that there's space in teams for players that most know aren't quite at the level of some of the other players. We need to stop doing that. Bless up, Float. What go on, bro? Hopefully this new WJPL fixes the lack of games. The season starts this Saturday and I'm excited. Yeah. So for all the girls that are playing locally that don't have a chance to get overseas currently, whether it's to go play for a school or to go play professionally for a club, yeah, this new JPL. But here's the thing now, JPL fan. Somebody like Andreen Smith, right? Who I think has kind of proven that she's above average when it comes on to if you put her up against the other local players. Just playing more games, if you're not getting challenged in those games, does that do anything for her, Jean-Pierre? That's my question to you. So while I'm happy there are more games, because there needs to be more games, I wonder that the elite players in those local clubs, it will help their fitness, yes, but technically they won't improve because they're not getting challenged. Bless up, Chris. What go on, bro? The quota system is akin to picking 4 U16 players in the first team every game. Yeah, I would agree. And the thing is, if you want to tell me that we have to have some, right? Because I don't think there'll ever be a day where we look at the team and it's 21 overseas born players. I don't think that will ever happen. And I think that when you look at this team, there were key contributors that play locally. But my thing is like, the players that were on the team that were local, that weren't key contributors, they barely played. And when we saw them play, you could see that there was a clear gap in the quality. And that's what we need to get away from. There are going to be anomalies in the local league that are better than the rest. Those are the players that are in line to get a chance. But it shouldn't be an entire bench of those players. Because when it comes down to the game that is going to get us over the line, the coaches don't trust the players. And we end up running the girls, our boys, on the field into the ground, and the other team ends the game stronger than us. It's happened, like, how many times have we conceded late in these competitions to lose or to get knocked out? Chris said, if we don't learn from Canada, we will never learn a better team than us with a better coach went and get 3 dual nationals since 2025. that make you know it's not about qualifying. Yeah, they want to qualify and do something. It's even more than that. Big up Pristine, Wagwan, ever clean. Big up yourself, bro. Yeah, man, I give the EPL a break. I have to talk about some Jamaica football today. But we're giving the girls their credit, you know? Yeah, man. Omar Fowling, it's about showcasing players. Yeah, it's sad. We are reading a little too much about the idea of merit. Being on the ground, a lot of those selecting players actually believe that our local players are actually that good. Well, that's another thing that I've always said, JamPL fan. I believe that the talent evaluators in Jamaica need a lot of work. Also, what I've noticed is if a player is noticed young as a player that they think is elite, no matter what their progress is for the next 4 to 5 years, we're going to see them in every team. And I just feel like one of the true signs of a talent evaluator being really good is when he can acknowledge that he might have made a mistake. And I just feel like we don't really do that enough as a nation when we're talking about our talent evaluators. We'll bring players along and maybe miss other players because we have put all our eggs in this player. And we're like, look, this is the one, I'm telling you. But I don't see it that way. You know, from year to year, players develop, players get better, players plateau, players get worse. But it seems like when we pick players, they're just constantly the best players. And I don't know if that's necessarily the truth. But I'm not on the ground, so I can't speak so much to, these phrases with players and reign as players and all that. I try my best to watch games whenever, those that cover this stuff put it out, but I'm not on the ground, so it is what it is. You are, so I will definitely take what you're saying. But I agree. I think that they maybe think the players are better than they actually are. Stop having expectation until we can say we suck at football and make a change, things will remain the same. See some people defending Dixon in the national team, a 20-year-old player that can't make a League One bench, but Mothersill 8 goals and 6 assists in League One, not good enough. Yeah, it's a constant. Is this another failure? What have we learned? Well, for me, Warren Webster, the two things, because I think, you can, there are some mirrors, there are some things that I thought were very similar between U-17 boys and U-20 girls. One of the main things was the coach not trusting his options off the bench when people got tired. And that is a issue that stems from players that getting picked for the right reasons. I think with the boys U-17, it was a little bit different. There were players picked on the basis, I thought, of relationships. You know what I'm saying? Who affiliation to the technical staff, reasons other than football. And with the U-20 girls, I think it was because, to be honest, the Jalias of the world, the Alissas of the world, there are so many of them playing in colleges, playing in academies. But at some point, we just say, okay, we have enough because we're going to put these other girls in the team as well. But some of those other girls who put in the team, the coach ain't going to use. So we need to get away from, there are more Jalias out there. There are more Alissas out there. There are probably more Andreens in Jamaica. But, we have what we have. Jason Gooner, it can't be good for the morale of local players to be pitted against vastly more developed players and getting smashed. Yeah, it's something that, all right, put it this way. El Meeks, you know what don't make sense to me? I've heard people that like to have that divide permeate the culture. Local, overseas. They will concede that the coaching of the local coaches is not up to standard to get us over the line at these competitions. So if they know that and those coaches aren't good enough, who do they think is coaching the local players? Isn't it the same coaches that you're telling me not good enough to get us over the line? So why is it that the coaches ain't good enough but the players are? So there's a disconnect there, El Meeks. They even say it. They say that the coaches who develop the players aren't up to the standard. So why then would you pick the players that have been developed by the same coaches you don't like or trust? It don't make sense. What have we learned from the Dixon situation? Well, I think what we have learned, is that it goes back to what I was saying about the talent evaluation. Dixon was deemed the savior or the next great hope after Whisper, right? And the fact that he now has gone overseas and is at Charlton, I don't think the JFF cares that he's not playing first team with them. They're completely happy that he's playing really well for the U21s. Um, and I think also, Malik Madasil, um, he wants to play for us. He said so himself on multiple platforms and stuff. But I think what a lot of times, Chris Smith, what I hear the hierarchy at the JFF stand behind, or not even the hierarchy, but anybody that tries to muddy the waters when it comes to overseas players. The first question, as soon as they bring up a player, does he have his passport? Right? So I think they hide behind, does he have his passport a lot? Because a lot of that information is not public knowledge. You would have to actually know the player personally, or know his agent, or know his somebody in his camp personally to get that information and have it be factual. So I think that they hide behind do they have passport. That's passport come up 2 seconds after you bring up a player every time. Clamor for Dixon is sheer lunacy. You say team selection, scouting, or developments, or all of the above? I would say because the team selection is the way it is because of the scouting, right? And the development makes it difficult for the players below that elite level of local player to merit making these teams. So it's all of the above, but I would put the greatest emphasis on scouting. Yeah, I think that's the main issue. And then development probably 1B in that. And then I think those things will drive the team selection. So, I think team selection is actually a byproduct of the lack of scouting and the lack of development. The view is that our players have great dormant potential that needs help to come out. Hence the hyper focus on bettering the coaching locally. Yeah, I think that's true. The view is that the players have more talent than what the coaches can help to get even further. I do hear that a lot. I don't know if that's like necessarily the truth, but I do think that there are some players locally that if they were developed better would have gotten further. I can't understand Madison 21, just a year older than Dixon. I just can't understand. One player starting in League One, next player, okay, same thing. Anybody can work out what is going on, and it's a joke. Some people that defending the foolishness have their own agenda. There's definitely a lot of agendas out there. That can't be mistaken. I watch more Championship and League One over Prem. Dixon is the equivalent of a U16 academy player development-wise. Yeah, so U-20 girls, man, they fell short again. I felt so bad for London because I thought London kept us in the game in that second half with some of our saves. From some of the little half chances they were creating. They didn't really have much from open play against us, but we kept fouling them. He's in the end, London made one mistake. I thought she definitely misplayed that free kick. When the ball left that girl's foot from about 35, 40 yards, London for some reason made like 2 steps forward and just didn't realize the power on that shot. And that those 2 steps forward really sealed her fate for her. She wasn't able to kind of gather and jump with any kind of force, and she just never got off the ground enough to get that tipped over the bar. So that was such a heartbreaking goal to concede. Where I would level at Jamaica is, Tiny, for all I was cussing her about not being able to hold up the ball, cussing the coach for playing her there. She did have the 2 clearest opportunities. One in the first half, good ball from Andreen into the kind of half space, and she turned and beat her marker, but the goalkeeper did really well. She did really well, and both times Tiny got through, coming off her line, closing down the angle. That first one, Tiny shot into her and ricocheted away. And then in the second half, it was a long ball misplayed by the defense. Tiny got under it, was able to beat that first marker, and just, I think the last touch before she struck on goal was a little bit away from her, and the goalkeeper again was very sharp off her line to kind of close down the angle, so she didn't have much of an angle to get that around her. So yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing, El Meeks. I like you say, I'm not dissing the youth, right? So I just feel like sometimes whenever we have these discussions, it's very difficult to be truthful because people take it as you don't rate a player or you don't like a player, you don't like no player that come from local or whatever the case is. Like, we don't have to be in such extremes. I mean, we should be able to analyze and discuss players. That's literally what happens in around the world. It doesn't mean that we hate the player. That's so El Meeks, I'm glad that you say you're not dissing him, because it's sad, but you have to say that. You know what I'm saying? People will think you're dissing people, and it's not. That's not what it is. Dexter went to League One, and by days he started playing. Yeah, because Dexter has a level of development that surpasses what Kahim would have been through. So in that same league, it won't take him as long to acclimatize. And obviously he's from there, so all those other things as well. He knows a little bit faster. El Meeks, the ball did swerve. It started out a little left and then curled back to the right, and it had some dip on it as well. But by the time it got to the keeper, I think if she didn't take those 2 steps forward when it was initially struck, I think she does save it. But that just messed up everything, and the swerve did kind of surprise her. About halfway to the goal, it kind of started to swerve a bit more towards her. So it was a good strike, for sure. But I think if London faced that shot 9 more times, she probably saved 9. And sad for her and sad for the Jamaica team. That was the one time. Remember, they say Omari Hutchinson wasn't good enough and Whisper was better. Now 2 years later, one playing EPL and value £22 million. Yeah, again, talent evaluators. I don't know. Yeah, it's amazing to me. Again, I think we place too much emphasis on all the power things in football. How fast them run, how hard them kick the ball. Like, literally, that is like the top 2 things that I hear Jamaican talent evaluators talk about. Have a good shot from range. That's like another thing that they love to say. Good shot from range. Like, how many long shots score in games? The conversion of a goal goes down based on how far from goal you are. So if a man have a good shot from range, great. That's an awesome thing to have. But how often will he be able to use that effectively in an international match? Very rarely. So I just feel like the emphasis is on the wrong things. What I just talked about, spatial awareness. If they're a midfielder, how much do they scan before receiving the ball? How do they receive the ball with a player on their right? Do they take note of that? Do they turn to the opposite side? These little things is what I like to look for in players. So sometimes, like a player like, let me give you an example of a player that I rate, and people probably think I'm mad. Joshua Zirkzee. You know why? Joshua Zirkzee, mentally, the way him think about the game, put him in a better team, and I guarantee you, him give you a lot of things. When I see Zirkzee playing for Netherlands, for example, who have a very clear style of play, they know what they want the striker to do. He's effective, very, very effective for them. Put him in a United team where it's all up and down, you're not sure. I'm going to look kind of ordinary. So, yes, he might be a system player, but put him in a good system and him give you good results. And people think I'm mad for thinking Zirkzee is good. But it's those little things I see Zirkzee do why I think he's good. Can he work on some things? Absolutely. Is he one of the best players in the world? Absolutely not. But I'm telling you, the way his technique, his technical ability, the way he thinks the game, spatial awareness, things of that nature, his movement, his runs, those are all top level. And I value those things higher than how fast somebody run and how hard him kick the ball. And I think that we sometimes get stuck in that when we evaluate talent in Jamaica. Listen to any talent evaluator that works for the JFF or some of these content creators that do Jamaica Premier League stuff. Those are the things that they highlight first and foremost: speed, skill, shot power, tackle. It's, I don't know, man. It's almost like a caveman style evaluation to me. Like, we have a kind of progress into the 21st century with how we evaluate the talent. You can't tell me one contributor on here who doesn't want the local youths to succeed. Yeah, that is true. That is true, because it will only make the pool stronger. Was Mothersill on Jamaica's 60-man squad at last year's Nations League? I don't think there was a 60-man squad for the Nations League, but I know we had one for the last Gold Cup. preliminary squad. But I don't think you can really take that to mean much, because we have seen, based on some of the squads, right, that came out after that preliminary squad, when players weren't selected and we asked about them, they said, oh, there's still some issues with their passport. So sometimes they'll put a player that they know is in the process in there. Even if it don't get through in time, they just want to make sure if it does get through, they're there to get put on the main team. So sometimes that, I don't think the answer to that would really mean necessarily that they have the paperwork, Coaching cost the U-20 girls. No way the keeper should be 8 yards off her line on a direct kick. No way players should be walking on the field. No way you park the bus that early after a 1-goal lead. Well, MPW 94, I don't disagree with what you're saying there. I think, as I said, for whatever reason, London made 2 steps up after the ball was kicked. I thought her initial starting position was fine, but the 2 extra steps and taking them the way she did, she almost like ran up 2 steps, which then took her momentum from gathering and jumping to tip the ball over. So I think it was just panic by London, honestly. The game time ticking down and knowing that we're right there. I just think she panicked a bit. Yeah. I think he is on the JFF's radar. Based on what I know, there's a person I know that is in contact with Madasil, and based on that, I know that the JFF is aware that he is, basically making himself available for selection. So he is on the JFF's radar now. Whether they take that up or not is another question. But yes, Jean-Pierre, he's not somebody that they don't have an idea of what's going on with. They do. They know who it is. All right, people. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about with the U-20, where we went wrong. Just highlight some players that I thought did well, some players that need some work. I think, basically it's down to McLaren and his coaching staff, from the way he speaks about it. I think it is a collective, obviously he has the final say, but it will come down to him and Trevor Sinclair and Meron Garden and all the rest of the brain trust in that coaching staff to come up with it. Of course, he has the final decision, but yeah, I would think that Malik Madasil, especially with what's going on in the striker area, should get some talking to. But don't worry, people. Tomorrow we have another reasoning time forward and during the day. So that will be geared towards more the reggae boys, have some news around the world, what players are up to. Basically doing a little form check. So we have some content for tomorrow to break down. So we'll discuss that more in detail tomorrow, Jean-Pierre fan. But yeah, back to the drawing board we go, people. Not a tough one to take. The girls fell just short. Now, if they had gotten through, they would have played. And let me just, before I move on to the Senior Reggae Girlz, let me just give credit to all the teams that would have gotten through. So let's just go through all 6 groups. Of course, Mexico and USA await for the Concacaf Championship, which will be in May. But this was the end of the groups. Now, there was one upset. Another Part 2 team, which is Guyana, did get into that next round. Nicaragua and Guyana would have been the only Part 2 teams to upset the Part 1 team in their group. So Haiti and Jamaica suffered the same fate. Guyana, by way of a 1-0 victory in their final game over Haiti, got the job done. Guyana definitely had quite a bit of recruitment for this team. I heard JD calling them Canada B, right? But you have to give them credit. I mean, they have found a way to make their team more competitive. And going through this group, we knew that this Haiti-Guyana game would have been a tough one to call based on what we saw from both teams. So Guyana, big shout out to you. Love what you're doing there with your team and definitely deserved to get through to the championship round. Let's see how you stack up against some of the better teams now going forward. Group B went as according to the pots. Puerto Rico, who was in Part 1, did win that group. They did end up drawing their last game 2-2. El Salvador definitely needed those last 2 goals to get into, needed 1 more goal, I should say. They looked like they were going to come back all the way to a 3-2, but Puerto Rico held it in the end and that draw gave them the qualification due to them having a better goal difference, +9. Group C pretty much went according to plan as well. Panama, Pot 1 team, but they ended on the same goal difference as Dam Rep. Their game did also end 1-1. Going into that game, Panama had the better goal difference, so a draw was good enough for them. So they got through their Dominican Republic at home. They were able to topple the home team. Then in Group D, Nicaragua over Jamaica. This is another one where Pot 2 failed to get through. Jamaica just needing the draw in the last game, but Jamaica needing to win in the last game, to overcome the goal difference disparity. You look back at Jamaica St. Vincent 6-0 at halftime, only being able to get one goal. You look at this game as well, 3-0 at halftime, only able to get one more goal in the second half. So yeah, we easily could have found 2-3 more goals in these two games so that the draw would have been enough, but who knows? Similar to the boys, maybe if we needed a draw, the scoreline would have ended up different anyway. So tough. It's just going to make life tougher as we move forward trying to qualify. We will drop down to Pot 2, I believe, since we did not get through. So, we could face the likes of Canada, Panama, Puerto Rico, Guyana, probably the team we would want to get, but who knows, by that time Guyana might have Canada's A team. Then we have Canada's A team in Group E. They were able to convincingly get through. I think Canada is working their way towards bypassing this stage of the competition. +43 is ridiculous in 3 games. 22-0, 9-0 against Bermuda. And I understand now why Africans was upset about 9-0, because when you put 12 past Trinidad, and I thought Trinidad was better than Bermuda for sure. It could have been +50 easily. So yeah, definitely Canada, I think, working their way towards getting a bye out of these qualifiers is ridiculous, putting them in this tournament at this point. Then Costa Rica, they got all 3 points in their group, looking strong as well. Don't think they were challenged that much in this group, to be honest, but still you have to give them their credit. Costa Rica got through unscathed, so as a Pot 1 team, they did what they're supposed to do. Now, of course, those 6 teams will meet with Mexico and USA to form 2 groups of 4, and basically the top 2 teams from each group, once you make the semifinals of that round, you will automatically go to the World Cup in Poland for the U-20 women. So that's pretty much the breakdown of the entire competition there. Again, Jamaica falling short. Watch back the video from the beginning and you will hear why I thought we did so. A number of reasons you could point to, but I tried to break it down into 2 or 3. And I did also touch a little bit upon the individuals and stuff. Didn't want to do that too much because, we'll have ample time to discuss players and their development. But there were some things I wanted to discuss, the coaching that I thought could have been different. And we got through all of that, people. So I have about 45 more minutes to go. So I'm going to take the rest of the show to talk about the Senior Reggae Girlz who are over there in Peru. They have their second game today at 4 o'clock. Sadly, Jason Gooner TV will not be able to live stream that game. So I wanted to get on before that game just to talk about what happened in the first game and also to maybe give a predicted lineup for the second game, which will be today. So first and foremost, let me get the tactical pad up and running. I was able to load in the teams from the first match into the pad so we can go through and watch and see what happened in these games. So let me get that on the screen for you guys right now. While I'm doing that, people, please do smash the like button. It is the best way to support the channel. Of course, there are other ways. You can drop your comments in the form of a super chat. That's helpful as well. And you can also become a member of the channel as well, get access to perks. Definitely another way to support the channel. I'm a little bit cheaper than some of the other memberships that you might have. I'm $1.99 a month, and that's just a way to just give your support monetarily if you enjoy the content. All right, people. But let me share this on the screen. As I said, this is the tactical pad that I like to work with. I'm contemplating whether I should get the version where you buy it, because I'd be able to do a lot more things with it, show plays and movement of plays. But I don't know, people. That's something that might have to come after we reach a certain amount of subs and the channel is earning enough revenue to support that, So that's something for the future. But for right now, I'll work with the free version where I can at least load up the team sheets, load up the players, very, very nice, can change the jerseys and stuff, make it look more like the teams. So yeah, I enjoy using this. If you didn't know about this, people, it's called Tactical Pad. A lot of scouts around the world use it as well. So yeah, that's it. El Meek said, it has been mentioned on various platforms that coaching development in Jamaica is pointless if the individuals cannot apply what they have been taught. True. Chris said, every time we select a squad and compare it with the other teams, you can see the big difference. That is true. Suriname bringing some players and we think Maggie, King, and Dixon can help us. Ghana and Canadian players had a system that is blind to where you live or born. True. Suriname went out and get a CB that can start in our team, but we talking about King. Bless up Africans, respect, bro. Thanks for tuning up or turning up and tuning in. Really do appreciate it. Smash that like button. Jeremy Lee, big up yourself as well. Like the video, my bro. Thanks for being here. Blackwood was immense last game, says Jean-Pierre fan. Yeah, so if you had a chance to listen to the press conference with the team being picked, I actually asked a question about Denisha Blackwood. I wanted to know from the coach where he saw her best position on the pitch, and he said, well, if you notice in the last fixture against South Africa, the first one, we did play her in an attacking role on the left or right, as an attacking midfielder, like a wide midfielder, a winger basically, depending on what phase of play it's in. And he said, she showed her versatility going to left back when we took off Shaban in one of the games. So, looks like they're leaning towards playing her in a more attacking role, and I agree with that totally, to be honest. But this was the team that started the last game against Peru. Spencer was in goal. Captain was Alison Swaby. She's centre-back partner with her sister Chantel. Left back was Shaban Wilson. Right back, a new role for her with the national team, but not new to her playing for the at the collegiate level, as she was converted to a right back about halfway through the season last year at Florida State and started almost pretty much every game when she was converted to right back. Then we had Jade Bailey playing as the number 6, wearing number 6 as well. The surprise inclusion, not necessarily because she started the game, but because of where she played, was Mimi Van Zanten, or Amelia Van Zanten. She was playing, I would say, more of the number 8 role of the 3 midfielders. So she had more box-to-box responsibility, I would say. Drew Spence had a little bit more freedom to join into the attack, but also when we were out of possession, would drop to form a more midfield 3. But she did spend a lot of time trying to get closer to McKenna, which I liked as well. I always think Drew is a little more effective for Jamaica when she's playing closer to whoever's playing striker. So I like that he gave her that freedom in this game. Denisha Blackwood started on the left and Jodie Brown started on the right, but they were doing some interchanging throughout the half. But I will just keep it this way since that's how the game started. And then Kayla McKenna, who, for whatever reason, divides opinion a lot amongst Reggae Girlz fans. I think obviously she's not Bonnie Shaw, but I think McKenna, some of the things that I rate about players, again, spatial awareness, how she receives the ball under pressure, her hold-up play as well. Even though I thought in this game the ball was bouncing off her a bit at times, I thought when she got into the game a bit more, you definitely saw her qualities and see the reason why, in the feminine La Liga, she constantly getting a contract to go play somewhere as a striker. And typically, wherever she goes, she starts for that team. So yeah, Kayla McKenna definitely showed why she's a professional right now. As I said, she had some touches that were a bit off, but I think once she grew into the game a bit, you saw the quality coming through. Not the fastest forward in the world, but I think she gets away with that because of her ability to use her body, good strength. She has some of the biggest legs of any girl in the national team, and she ain't a big girl. So she's just a solidly built player, and she definitely uses that to get space or to get off shots shield players and bring others into play. So that was the starting 11 for Jamaica. On the Peru side, you had Madden in goal, a player that Peru has recruited as well to join their national team. Yamoka and Herrera, the 37-year-old captain, were playing centre back. Azabashe was at right back, Rosa Castro at left back. Two diminutive players, but full of fight and good technical skill. Emily Flores, another diminutive player, she was playing number 6, full of energy, but was a bit hard for her to cope with the Jamaican attack in this first game. Then they had two basically dual eights, Claudia and Geraldine. They both play in Peru, but veterans of the national team, both about 20 or 30 caps apiece. Then they had Berka Ruiz and Bill Cape on the wings, and Nunes, their number 9, was playing striker. So that was basically the team setup. 4-1-4-1 for Peru, and Jamaica was more in a 4-3-3. At times, it did look more like this as well, like a 4-2-3-1 with Spence playing just a little closer to McKenna. But I think out of possession, basically this is what it was looking like, a 4-3-3. Van Zanten a bit more advanced than Bailey, and Spence a bit more advanced than Van Zanten. So that was how it started. And a couple of things that I noticed right off the bat. Jamaica had the advantage over Peru in terms of physicality. That was clear to see. Some of the advantages they maybe didn't have against South Africa, due to South Africa being a faster team. We were able to exploit especially these channels. Jody Brown, Blackwood down this channel. One thing I really liked about the start of the game as well, we saw a play early in the game, and basically it caused the goal. Blackwood was able to receive, and you heard Busby, because when I watched the game back, because the initial game I watched on Peru's YouTube channel, and then when I watched the game again prior to doing this show, I watched some of it yesterday and I watched the rest this morning. The way the first goal came, let me get a ball on the field, because that is one thing that I don't have to pay for, is getting a ball on the field. So let me let me put a ball on the pitch. Items. All right, so Blackwood receives out here, and at the time, Peru was a bit up the field because they had the ball before this. We won the ball, and Blackwood gets it early. Right, Spence is more in the attack. McKenna is up here. Jody's on the other wing. Mimi and Bailey are a bit higher. Defense is a bit more up. So when she received the ball, I'd say Wilson was about there. Claudia. Right, so Flores. McKenna starts to make the run into the box. So Blackwood is dribbling with the ball, and you can hear Busby telling Shaban to join in. So by the time Blackwood gets to about here, they get stretched a bit this way. Jody's coming in late. By the time it reaches here, Shaban has now overlapped, and she slips her through nicely. And then the one-time cross comes in. McKenna couldn't get on the end of it because she was under pressure from this player. Herrera had to come out to try to block the cross. So the numbers are in our favor in the box. Lamoka was kind of here going for the ball. Castro gets sucked into the ball as well. And then Jody Brown, after they could convert, controls and slots it into the goal. So I love the fact that something that the coach clearly had worked on, because as soon as Blackwood received the ball about here, he's telling her to engage this player and Shaban to link up and create the overload. And it worked to perfection. As I say, good timing on the pass by Blackwood playing in Wilson. Wilson, instead of just whipping it into the box, you could see she looked up, saw where the runners were, put in a dangerous area, and Jody was there to get that follow-up after it was missed by everybody at the near post. She was able to control well with the left foot and put it in as well with the left foot to make it 1-0. So good first goal by Jamaica that utilized the area of the pitch where I think Coach Busby knows we could have an advantage against his team, and that's down the flank. So the first goal I thought was a beautiful goal, good build up, good overlap, good cross, and a clinical finish to end it all. So I was very pleased with the first goal, and we scored it very early. I think it was in like the 3rd or the 4th minute, if I'm not mistaken. And then from that point, I thought Jamaica settled into the game pretty well. I thought we exhibited good patience. We weren't necessarily going so direct. One player that really impressed me, especially due to the fact that I know that's not really her position, because I know that for Florida State, most of the time she's playing like left back, and Simmons is playing right back, or sometimes Mimi might be playing like mid defense. But rarely do I see her playing midfield like that. So, yeah, she definitely, to me, looked really solid. I mean, some of the times that when she was receiving the ball from, like, let's say Simmons or even Wilson was pinged in at her, she was able to control it and lay it off with pressure on her. So, yeah, Mimi just looks like the type of player that technically is very sound. And so, I think the coach could utilize her in many different areas, because I was very surprised how well she was able to do in the midfield. Now, to speak about Peru a little bit, Peru, South American style, they're going to try to play those short, intricate passes, make triangles. I think with Peru, what they ran into is just too much physicality on the back line for Jamaica. Whenever they did get close to our Spencer, or, getting behind Simmons or Wilson, Swaby, whether it's Allison, Chantel, Bailey, coming over to help out and shield, they just weren't able to get through all the way to Spencer, right? And of course, it's going to take a lot to beat Rebecca Spencer in goal. Let me check in with the chat, see if anybody have anything to say on what I just discussed. El Meeks, thank you very much, my brother. Respect, bro. Yeah, man, that means a lot, bro, to become a member. That's I'm very appreciative, my brother. Respect. McKenna game was damn poor. Let's be real. Where say me I water down the thing. I thought she improved after the first maybe 25-30 minutes. I thought she was good after that. Her link up play got a lot better. She was able to get the goal in the second half as well. So yeah, I think I agree that her start was lackluster, but I thought she grew into the game. Also, Jodie Brown should have done better. She's a senior player. For God's sake, we need to speak the truth. Peru is a weaker team than us, and that is all we can do. Very, very sad. Yeah, I mean, look, we beat them 2-0 on their soil. I don't think Becky Spencer or the defense really gave up any chances per se. Could it have been more goals? Absolutely. But I just feel like the coach is working on some things that maybe I think we're playing a different way. The build-up phase is a lot slower than it normally is. He's trying to shift the defense around first before going forward. You could see there was an emphasis trying to get Jody and Blackwood the ball in space. But in order to do so effectively, we're trying to kind of, bring the Peruvians out and then try to hit them where they didn't have so many numbers in defense. So, we didn't go all out to score goals every 5 seconds, and maybe that's what people aren't happy about. But I don't mind the patience in the build-up, because I keep on saying that I think a lot of times in games we break down because we don't keep the ball enough. We need to have those spells where we just keep possession, Not to say we take a risk around the back playing crazy passes or anything, but, with the amount of players that I think have decent technique in the team, especially when you look at that midfield, Jade Bailey, Spencer, and Van Zanten, I trust all three of them getting the ball under pressure, being able to hold it. And you need them to be on the ball. And I think we're doing a better job, or trying to do a better job of playing through those three when we go forward. So Jeremy Lee is not having it. McKenna and Jody were poor. And he said, am I impressed with the way we are playing? Well, I am impressed with certain aspects of it, right? I'm impressed with certain aspects of it. I think the final third needs a lot of work. We need to put away the chances, you know what I'm saying? He said, no, sir, McKenna was very poor in the final third. We suck. Truth is the truth. Final third. Well, as I said, I don't agree fully, but That's your opinion, Jeremy Lee, and that's fair. I don't agree fully with that assessment. I don't even think it was the decision making in the final third as much as the execution in the final third was the problem. You know what I mean? I don't think it was actually the decision making. I think the decisions were there. I think the plays that they were trying to do, you could see what they're trying to do. The execution just wasn't good enough. So in that sense, the execution sucked. I don't think it was a decision making issue though. And what I like is when you saw the attacks, you saw where people were. You saw people running into channels and not running into each other. So that was better. If it was a better team, we would have been killed. Well, if it was a better team, we probably would have given up chances in the game for sure. You could see against a South Africa team that was, the bulk of it, the local contingent, because they didn't have some of their players out. They had some of their players out due to injuries and other concerns. We definitely struggled with them in both games. Even though we won the first game 3-0, they were getting in behind on us a few times. And, we even gave up 2 goals in the second game. So, yes, it was a better team. We would have had more struggles. But I think, as the coach alluded to in the press conference, we saw this friendlies against Peru and people got upset saying, if we're going to improve, if we play the best teams. And he had to remind you, like, before the South Africa games, we played Brazil and France. So, I mean, not every window you're going to be able to play the top team in the world. And remember, Concacaf has varying levels of teams. So we play teams that have this South American style, because I would consider the Central Americans to be very similar to South America. So I think this game has value in terms of playing a certain type of opposition and a team that's maybe not as good as we are. How do we break down low block? Because Peru, after, I wouldn't say they played low block the whole game, but there were times when they were dropped pretty deep, trying to handle all the different threats we were bringing. The team were okay, not especially good or bad. Yeah, I think that's a balanced assessment and a fair one. There were elements that I weren't happy with. Like I said, the execution in the final third wasn't the best. I still feel like not enough when we're not under pressure. I still feel like we make too many unforced errors with the football. I would love for Chantel's and Allison for that matter. I would love for their passing to be a little more accurate. I thought Wilson and Simmons did a better job in that regard. Wilson looks like she has gained some more fitness since the last window. She didn't look to be as tired as she was after, making a few runs down that flank. So that's good to see that the game time she's getting with her new club is helping out with that. And again, Jade Bailey, I think she has some deficiencies, and I want to see Jade play a team that has more of the ball when we play them, because I think on the ball, I love everything about what she does. Maybe she could do things a bit faster, but I do think that, I like that change of pace that she brings, because everybody else wants to go direct, wants to go fast. She just kind of cools the temperature of the game sometimes, which I like. And again, I was impressed with Mimi Van Zanten in midfield. I think that she did a really good job. You can see that she has the energy levels, but I was more so impressed with how she was able to, control the ball and play the passes very accurately, whether over short distance or long distance, and had really clean touch, which I love. So Mimi, I thought, was, out of all the players, Mimi would have, I think, opened the coach's eyes up the most. And I don't know if anybody asked him that in the post match. I was there and I asked a question about Jodie, because I thought that her performance was better than what we saw against South Africa. Now, some of that might be due to the opposition. I would like to think it has more to do with her just being at a better place in her career professionally. I think at that time she had just gotten to Benfica not too long ago. And I don't know if that played a part in her performances, but could definitely see a difference in this game. Better team with better defense and offense. Hello. Yeah, Jeremy Lee, listen, I can only analyze how they played against this opposition. I mean, there's no point that I tell you, but when we played France, it looked horrible and we were under the cosh. I mean, if you believe, Jeremy Lee, that we are at the level of France and Brazil right now, then you, my friend, need some help. Peru, was it that you wanted more goals, Jeremy? Because Peru wasn't a threat in the game. And that to me is more important. Like, if you play an opposition that's not as good as you, how many chances did you give up? How many saves did Becky have to make? Not that many, So I'm okay with that. That's my point. Raise the tempo. Peru have play a low block, sir. Why you keep saying sir? Is that I'm not, you're older than me, you know. You don't have to refer to me as sir. Bless up positive vibrations. Big up yourself. Big up you. Where is the membership button again? There should be a join button. Like close by the like and everything. That's where it should be. Now, if you're looking at a TV, I'm not sure, but on your device, it should be right there by the like button and everything. Just a button that said join. I think if you're subscribed already, it won't say subscribe. It will say join. Don't ask no more questions at the press conference. Why not? Shade touch them clean. Why we can't ask no more questions? Can I ask about Jody? Easy Groves and Hines still to come. Yeah, so Easy finally got a club not too long ago. So yeah, big up Easy. And Taylor Hines still working on the paperwork. Or you want to call in? That was you asking about Jody Brown in the press conference? Wow. That is my point. Peru never threatened us. And how are you so sure that I'm older than you? That's true. I'm not sure still, you know. I might not be. Jason, for you, what is the ideal test to check the level of Reggae Girlz this year? To me, it's Mexico. Yeah, I would say Mexico. I would say, yeah, of the Concacaf teams, Mexico. Because Mexico, to me, is that team that is the most threatening to the USAs and Canadas of Concacaf. So we don't need another gap to form between Mexico and us. You know, I would say two teams actually, Mexico and Haiti. Those two teams. If we ever buck those teams, that is when I'll be looking and saying, okay, because to me, that's the top four in CONCACAF with Jamaica right there, 4 or 5, sometimes 4, sometimes 5, based on how you look on things. Of course, people will say we beat them 4-0 the last time. But yeah, I would say Mexico, very good. But I would also put Haiti in there as well. Jody Brown is underperforming, and that is the truth. Jason, for you. Okay, I saw that. Click on the dollar sign. Okay, dollar sign him say. Yeah, because it will give you super chat option, member join option, all of that. Yeah, ask about Jody and then ask him what is Saturday lacking when I don't want to play her. Yo, positive vibration. You see, true become a balance, bro. I listen back to a lot of the times. I listen to every question I've asked on press conferences, and I don't think I have ever, before the last two, ever asked about any local developed player. So I say, you know what? So people can know, say, I don't really care. That was literally why I asked about those two players. Because for one, I was very intrigued about where the man want to play then. Come see her play left back for him, I'm see her play left attack for him. Or right attack. And me personally, I want her to play more attacking. I think when she plays in Liga MX for a club, that's where she plays all the time. And I think she's more effective up there. I think she causes more problems than benefits when she plays defense. So that was that question. And the Jody question was because I thought she was extremely poor in the South Africa games, but I thought she did a lot better in the Peru game. And again, all the forward line could have did better in front of goal, including Jody. But I'm saying every phase of Jody's play in the South Africa games was poor. From build-up to control to passing to running to everything. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're calling in? All right, sorry. May I call you back, Jeremy Lee? Make me hear. You sound very you have a lot to say on these topics. So let's hear from Jeremy Lee what he has to say. Jeremy Lee, welcome to the program. Big up yourself. What go on?
Yeah, man. Big up yourself, man. Big up yourself. Big up everybody. Bro, I am a little bit pissed right now. I have no respect to you, though.
Yeah, man.
I don't be mad at you or anything like that, right? But, bro, you're saying the stuff that, listen to yourself. Jody Brown was poor during the South Africa game, which is a much better team, right? Mm-hmm. And even though they left out some players, right? Mm-hmm. And against a Peru team, you're saying that she played much better. Of course, supposed to play much better. It's a weaker team, right? Physically, we're stronger, we're bigger, faster. Jody Brown should have at least 3 to 5 goals. She and McKenna up front, brother, in the second half. As a matter of fact, when the game starts, I'm sorry, let me calm down a bit. I'm a little bit heated right now. Brother, let me tell you something, man. If you watch the Gold Cup that played the last time and we were not in it, mm-hmm. Panama step up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see Mexico beat USA 2-0 in their own stadium?
Mm-hmm. Costa Rica step up as well.
Play USA in a friendly after that, and they could have barely beat Mexico in a USA. Bro, Guatemala step up, Panama step up, right? It's not gonna be easy for us.
So Jeremy Lee, are you saying that we have gotten worse? Is that what you're saying?
It seems like we step backwards.
I disagree. I disagree totally, and here's why. I think that this coach is trying to actually implement a style for us, because I believe that all of our coaches previously just wanted to get results so that we could say, hey, we're better than this team, we make the World Cup, blah, blah, blah. But when we went to the World Cup, did you see any attacking play from Jamaica?
No.
Okay. And this coach is making a concerted effort, as far as I can see, to change that mindset. Now, it's going to look better against a team like Peru because they don't challenge us as much. But again, in the past, we would have reverted to type and just gone over the top and tried to run past them. I saw us trying to actually build in this game. Those are the things that I liked about it. Again, the execution leaves a lot to be desired. I agree.
All right, so stick up. Yeah, so I get what you say, and I guess, and you know, I hope I'm wrong, right? But I like what he's doing. He's working the ball to the midfield, not just over, right? He's not over. That's a good thing. But when these girls get the ball in the final third, oh my God, Jason, man, how many goals that they should have scored? No, I'm not saying that you know what I mean, that they should have scored 50 goals, right? For Jody Brown now, who's a senior player, right? She's not a baby no more. She's over 20 now. She's been around for a while. We need to stop babysitting her, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need to stop.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
We don't go after them, then Blackwood, all right? Because they even though, man, can't believe so they need to pay the same attention to Jody. Jody needs to do better. She's out there for a while now. She's not a baby no more, right? And I want to see her go to the next level. She's not a professional. Bring it to the national team. No more babysitting. No, I hope I'm wrong that this coach is. No, yes, to be honest with you, I see what he's doing. He's working the ball. He's working the ball, right? And that is good. We're not going to get over the top, right? And I'm also glad that Bonnie Shaw was not there for us to look at someone else. You get what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
But bro, McKenna should have scored some more goals. I think her touches were poor. Peru offered nothing. Nothing. Her touches were poor.
Yeah, in front of the goal, as I said, all the attackers needed to do a lot better. But maybe because we're playing a team that I know isn't as good as us, I don't even care if we win 2-0 or 65-0. I am looking at the other phases of play, because most of the time when we play these other teams, we don't get to see none of that. We don't build the ball at all. We're just playing defense for 90 minutes. So maybe what it is the way I was watching it and analyzing it, I wasn't even so concerned with how the plays ended up. I just liked a lot of the approach play. And I like the fact that even though we're playing, because a lot of times when Jamaica play teams that are weaker than them, them still end up getting chances. And I didn't see that happening in this game. And I know, and I don't think Peru is so bad to the point where them can't create a one chance. But I think we just had a better game plan in terms of how the team was set up and the solidity of how we were set up. So I like that about that. And I'm not disagreeing with you. We were poor in front of goal. That's a fact.
And the coach is doing his recruiting and he's doing this, that, right? I like the way he's not kicking the ball over the top. I love that, right? But my point, I think he's trying to work. Now, let's watch the second game tonight, right? Because I'm going to tune in. Even though, you know me, I'm at work. I'm going to take an extended break and watch it, right? Because I don't want to be just overly critical.
No, but Jeremy, to be fair, before you keep going, to be fair to you, the things you're critiquing, I agree with, I agree that they were woeful in front of goal with their touches and stuff like that. But again, maybe I just was downplaying that stuff because I wasn't so concerned with that in this game. I know we can score goals on Peru. That's not really. I know that it's. I mean, if Bonnie Shaw got some of those chances, she would have scored like 10 times. You know what I'm saying? And we know we have Bonnie Shaw. So
I also heard that they did I don't understand enough about what's going on. They did a post-match conference 2 days before. I don't understand with that. But someone asked the coach again if he's going to go with the same lineup. He said no. He want to have winning as a habit. So you're going to go in the same lineup, right? I'm saying this to you now.
Well, he kind of is. So he said winning is a habit, which he mentioned, but he did say, it can't just be about making sure I see every player. You know what I'm saying? We need to make sure that we win. Which I don't agree with totally for the second game. And before I end the show, that's the last thing I was gonna do, is just say if I was coaching a team, this is who I would play in the next game. But yeah, continue your point, same way.
But so by him saying that, I said, okay, no, he's gonna go forward, fine. So he see what as I listened to the press conference and everything. And I'm not a coach, right? So I could get some stuff wrong. I learned a lot from you guys, right? I think you know more about football than I do, right? And so I'm just giving my critical. So I want you to know is I have the most respect for you, boy. You understand? I have the utmost respect for you. That's why I'm coming, right? I have the most respect for you. So you know what I mean? You can agree and disagree, but if you see how the road, you will never come back your face. You understand?
Yeah, no, and look, I don't take it that way, Jeremy. I don't take it that way. Because to be honest, if I am talking, right, and every single time I talk, everybody in my comment section is agreeing with me, then either I am not, something is wrong. Somebody has to disagree with what I'm saying. That's just life. You know what I'm saying?
I think when you asked about Jody Brown, though, I think I was expecting you to go a little bit harder, right? That you think that as a senior member, you should have done a lot more, because after the game, you know what I mean, I have a
yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing why I disagree with you on the way I asked the question, right? Jody Brown is a senior member due to her longevity with the team. But how old is Jody Brown?
She's about 20 now, right? Because
she's like 21 or 22. How long has Jody Brown been a professional in football?
But you understand, she played in the collegiate system too, right?
Right. So that's great exposure and experience, but it ain't professional, okay? And she has just gone to Benfica to play. So just because Jamaica put her in the lead of Jamaica from when she was 16 or 15 or whatever it was, that don't mean she's developed as no player. So I'm asking the question as where I see her development, not where you see her as a Jamaican long-time player.
No, if you look into my comment, right, what I said, she's now a professional long time, right? So now we can't call her baby Jody no more. We have to call her. She's over 20 now. I said that.
True.
So I'll make sure to get that out, right? She been there since she was like 15, right? 7, 8 years now, right? So she played against all these professionals. She's been in the World Cup. She played against other internationals, right? So she should be at Brown should be a full-fledged. Listen, let's be real right now. Jody's not a baby no more. She's not 16 no more. She's been with the program for a while. Yes, she's a professional now. I seen them gone. I think I forgot what I think it's black code, gone to Mexico. Mexico female league has taken off. A lot of top American prospects are heading on to Mexico, right? Our players are playing all over. And so being around all these professional players going 7, 8, 9 years, right? We can't use the same excuse for Jody Brown no more. We cannot. And so, yes, you're right. She's been a professional for what, 8, 9 months now, or maybe a year? Yeah, she went to Benfica
like in August, I think, or September.
Yes. So let's just, but I got to give it to her though. She's staying, I got her a bachelor's. I got to give that to her, right? Got to give that to her. Praise to you, girl. You know what I mean? I got to give that to you, right? So let's just focus on this now, right? We're a child football. Who wants to go and the good? But Concacaf has grown. The region has grown. And we have got to understand Mexico is not the same Mexico. Costa Rica is not the same Costa Rica, right? And we are the team that they want to beat. We are the team they want to beat. Did you ever think of that, Jason?
Yeah. I think that those teams, obviously, USA, Canada, they're in their stratosphere. But then the other teams in CONCACAF, they look at Jamaica as, if we can get past them, we'll start to make the World Cups now. The likes of Costa Rica, Panama, Mexico, Haiti. These teams are looking at Jamaica as the...
I forgot about Haiti.
Yeah, Haiti's the forgotten one. I think people, because we beat them 4-0 in the last qualifiers, people just write them off. But that game, they hit the bar on us like 4 times as well. So,
yes. Yes. But they got better. The thing with Haiti is they don't have a defense, right? But the offense and midfield, they will kill you. Also this, right? Remember, the last World Cup, how many teams from Canada go to the World Cup?
So from the competition, it was the top 3. So that would have been USA, Canada, and Jamaica. And then I know that Panama and Haiti. Panama and Haiti got there. It was 6. So Costa Rica, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica.
Guess who they knocked out to get there?
Who?
Teams from South America.
Yeah, I don't even know. Did Peru make the qualifiers or they were out? They didn't even make that part.
That's what I'm trying to explain to you. So if you take away the Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, the rest of the teams in South America is weak. We're stronger than them. Why do you think they come to the Gold Cup? They come to give a competition. Normally they don't want to play with us. They say that we're weak. Right? They don't want to play with us. They say we're weak with no competition. That World Cup that we knocked them out, that was the World Cup. 6 teams from Concacaf. 3 from South America. I think 2 from South America.
Yeah.
No, 3. Argentina, Brazil, and the 3. That's why they're coming to us. Normally, no. Why you think that game that
Yeah, so so all the South American teams that made the continental qualifiers, none of them got through, right?
No, we knocked them out.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to show you. So they see the competition with us now. That's because I'm telling you, I know I've been playing this with American friends. They look down on us, they did not want to play us. But no, the reality have come up now. That's what I'm telling you, Jamaica's a target now for the rest of the Central American team.
Yeah.
They figure out if they have to, and it's United States, they have Cuba improve, and not Cuba, Mr. The Elsa, it's not, that's just my wake-up call to y'all. It's not going to be easy. That's all I'm trying to say. The other teams are improving. We need to stop sleep at the wheel. That's my main point.
Yeah, man.
All right. So
yeah, man. I appreciate the call. I appreciate the call. I appreciate you putting your thoughts into words. Because sometimes in the comments when it's broken down, you don't really get the full feel for what you're saying. So respect for the call, Jeremy. And yeah, man, just keep on supporting and always hold me to the task. If you see me not going, hard enough, yeah, man, let me know. Yeah. I appreciate that.
One last thing before I go.
I'm
going to look, analyze how this team played because the coach, I've seen the weakness and the strength of this Peruvian team, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I expect that we must be coming out. Well, maybe he's still working on some things, right? That's true, right? But I hope that he, I hope the players can rise it and fight their spot because I don't think any of them is secure, right? Fight their spot.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I think. Based on, I saw an interview with Tiffany and Kayla, and based on what they're saying, it's like they all know that, this pool is growing and we need to be on it if we want to be in these teams. So that's very good that they know, these games matter because you might not be in the next damn window based on all the players that this coach going after. So, yeah, man, that's a good thing. Anyway, I'm going to finish off the show with a predicted 11 for later. So take it in right now. Big up yourself.
All right. You never said. I think he's going to change the front line. I think he's going to probably change one of them, right? He's going to bring in, but you know what? Don't let me stop. He said he's going to do the same team, so I'm never going to predict them.
Yeah, look, I won't even call it a predicted 11. I would call it Jason Gooner 11 if he had the job. Because I think if I was to do a predicted 11, it would look similar.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, I am not 100% familiar with all the new faces, so I'm not going to predict. I am just, before we go off, let me say this. I support the coach. I support the Reggae Girlz. I just want to see we do the best, right? I'm critical of you, coach, and the team because I want to see you do good. I'm not being critical just to be a hater. I love my country. I love my Reggae Girls. Go Reggae Girlz.
Yeah, man. Respect. All right, Jeremy Lee, big up yourself. Yes, people. So that was Jeremy Lee with a passionate phone call. Just wanted to put in his takes on the Reggae Girlz' current situation. I saw some comments while he was talking that I wanted to actually touch on. Yeah, positive vibration. Want to know why I never ask about Sade and I ask about Jody and Den. He said the level that we're trying to reach, Den can't help us as well as he can't be sounding so dependent on college players. Well, yeah, he wants to make sure that there's a future for the team. So he's going for those players, but. Like you said, it doesn't have to be the college players. There are players all over the place that want to represent Jamaica that are young too. So, yeah, I think sometimes, I know with him especially, because he's more familiar with that setup and he probably can get in touch with the players a bit faster. I think it's a bit easier for them to make the transition, Jean-Pierre said, only 3 of us ask questions with only Gooner, one of the few that always ask about the women teams. Yep, that is true. Wasn't very much questions in that press conference at all. And the coach did state he's experimenting, yes. Yeah, El Meeks, I saw that, and thanks for letting me know. I was wondering if I had it too far. Sometimes them say it too loud, but Jeremy, I don't know, he was kind of in the distance on his audio. Coach is experimenting. Yep. Mexico will be the real first test for a while. Ingleton, yes, Ingleton didn't look bad. I agree. Jade Bailey is slow. You can't go around it, bro. She's not the fastest player, but very good touch on the ball, though. I like how she play. But yeah, she against certain teams, I don't know if she's the right option. Against Central American teams, she's fine though, because ain't nobody really running past you like that in the Central American teams. And the South American teams. I like the ball movement. Yes, finishing needs to be better. I've seen a difference in Jodie from the last game. She was competitive with her peers in the college system. Yeah, I think you can say that about her because 6 camps a year is not a professional environment. Agree. I don't equate her being in the national team for so long to being a professional. That's where Jeremy and I disagreed a bit just now for real. Yeah, it was top 4 and the third place teams went. That's right. And then both of the third place teams actually won because Panama made it and Haiti made it. Well, what I would credit JFF about this time, at least there is a plan for the senior girls with games each window, including one versus Mexico. Yeah, I love that they're playing Mexico in the next window. That's awesome. The girl from Liverpool is not quite done fully with the paperwork, is what I heard, because I asked about her specifically before the last games against South Africa when I saw her not in the team. And it was told to me that the paper's still not ready. See Jeremy Lee telling you there, which I was kind of surprised by because she played in another friendly, but I guess the rules weren't as strict during that, or they know that, friendlies it's fine, but they don't want to even, I don't know. I mean, my thing is, if you know she's working towards the papers, you know the friendlies she's able to play still, then why not have her play still? Because she can integrate into the team during this time. But that's, I guess I'd have to have longer than a press conference. I'd have to interview the coach to ask that. Some also say that her agent wants her to hold out for England. Oh, Jeremy, some like who? Yeah, when you say something like that, you have to reveal your source, Cause me need to go ask them some what them I talk about, cause me not hear nothing like that. None at all. Alright, so let me look at the pad now, and I'm going to show you guys. If I was the coach, how I would start tonight. So look, Becky Spencer, we rate you, we love you. You're the best that we have right now. But I would rather Leah get some more reps in this game. She made that mistake in the South Africa game. I'm sure she wanted to make up for it. So give her a chance to get some game time. She might not even get to make a save today, but at least let her play, get some more experience. I feel like in the France camp, and to a lesser extent the South Africa camp and the Brazil camp, it was very difficult to play the young ones. But in a camp like this, we need to do it, people. So we drafted in 2 very, very good Division 1 center backs. And Jerry Butts, who we saw in that Gold Cup senior team, get a chance when the players were on strike. And the other one that I would like to see is Jasmine Ferguson. Now, Jasmine Ferguson, these 2 players actually both play in the SEC, one of the top college conferences in football in America. And Jasmine is at LSU, and then Jerry is at University of Florida. So I would start the both of them. I know Jerry can also play right back, but I think she's really and truly a center back, and I think the same for Ferguson. Many of you probably not as familiar with these 2 players. Maybe you're more familiar with Njeri Butts because you've seen her play. But I would start these 2. Now, at right back, I would not start Simmons again. I would start who came on for Simmons this time. That's Naya Cardoza at right back. Now, left back is the tricky one because we don't really have a recognized left back in the team other than Shaban Wilson. I know Blackwood can play there as well, but I refuse. If I'm coaching, she ain't playing left back. So that's what I would do. I would just give Wilson the start again. There's other things you could do. We've seen him put Chantel Swaby at left back. Ingleton is actually a defender. She can play all across the back line, but really is a right back, centre back type player. But I would start Ingleton where she came on the last game just to see if she can do it from minute one. And that's in the central defensive midfield. As someone noted in the comment section, looks to have a bit more physical ability than Jade in terms of just covering the ground. Not that we need that so much against Peru, but I just want to see her play in a game from the start, see what she looks like there. Mimi Van Zanten was probably the most impressive to me in that midfield. So for that reason, I would go ahead and start her. Now, Spence played well too, but I would say since we know what Spence is about, I would try someone else in that more attacking midfielder role. So I would start Miss Blades. I would start Miss Blades in that role. She did come on and play on the left-hand side, but I think when I look at her appearances for her club in England, she looks to be more of a central attacking midfielder to me than a winger. So I would try to get her more in her more role that she might prefer. So I would start Blades there. I agree with Jeremy that I would be changing out my front line just to see players in the second game. So I think Tiffany Cameron never quite gets the chance to play her actual position for Jamaica. For Real Betis, for all our club teams, she plays striker, whether it's in a 2 or a 1. She can play wide as well, attacking mid, wide, left or right. But I want to see her get a chance playing striker. For me, I think Cameron Simmons is really an attacking player that's playing right back due to circumstance for FSU. I don't think that we have the same circumstance for Jamaica though, so I don't see why you'd be playing her so deep in the pitch. I want her to play one of the wide areas, so I would put her on the right-hand side. And then on the left-hand side, we saw this player come off the bench, and I would start her this game, and that's Sade Adamalokin. Now, of course, we know easily any of these front three can play centrally, whether it's Cameron, and all of them are comfortable in any other positions in the front three. So even though I would start this way, where I have Cameron up front and Sade on the left and Simmons on the right, I would love to see rotation. So I want all of them to get a chance at any of these three spots. It needs to be fluid. So it's not like Cameron has to be the target the whole time. As a matter of fact, what I would probably do to start the game is this. But as I said, I do want them to be able to rotate throughout the game. Now, just because Mimi played great, I'm looking at the team now, and I know we've always seen Primus, so we kind of know what to get from her. But I would probably start Atlanta since she didn't play the first game. As long as she's fit, I would start her just to have someone on that pitch from the start that is, a part of the quote-unquote first team setup, and maybe put the armband on Atlanta as well. Since she's probably definitely the most senior player on the pitch, or give it to Tiffany because she's been around a long time as well. Tiffany could easily lead them out with this particular 11. So for me, ringing the changes, I would start this team again just by necessity. I would start back Wilson at left back. When you look at the players that haven't played yet, the likes of Buckley, Rishaya Walker, they would definitely be looking to get a chance off the bench in this game. But this is what I would start with, people. If I was the coach, I definitely would want to maximize seeing a lot of players. He mentioned in his post-match that, Naima doesn't really play that role normally, but from what I saw, the little cameo, I would like to try her there. I think that CDM role is a role where we have every player that plays that role, I think, has something that is a bit of a deficiency. So I don't know if we have found like the prototype just yet. So I don't mind giving Naima a look there. Now, if it's a case where Shaban played a lot, I think what you would maybe see is Cardoza play left back, because we have seen that before. Butts moves to right back. And then on that back line, just to keep that presence of the veteran out there, maybe you see Swaby start. And Ferguson can play right back or center back. So, it could very well be but Central Ferguson wide type of thing. But yeah, it could be something like this as well. But I hope that he does ring in the changes. I think seeing the players right now is probably the most important thing. And a lot of these players we have seen a few times now. So maybe it's a chance to give some others a chance, right? Yeah, El Meeks about Taylor Hines said, not sure about that agent story. She opted to play for Jamaica at 24, having already represented England at U17, U19, and U23. Yeah, I would have to agree with you there, El Meeks. Nothing from what I know, and I have a link that's kind of close to the situation. I wouldn't say right there in it, but a decent enough link that I feel pretty strong about. Nothing like that of the sort that she's kind of on the fence at this point. I think she loves the project. She loves the girls in the team. Um, you know, had a good time in the one camp that she was able to come and play with us. So yeah, I don't know if that story is necessarily a true one. I think that's um, people just wanting to find other reasons. You know what I mean? But anyway, people, that is pretty much it. We're gonna get ready for some football now this afternoon. The EPL match is going on, but I will only be looking at that for about an hour and a half because at 4 o'clock I will be putting all my attention on this Reggae Girlz second game against Peru. If you haven't already, people, join JFF Live YouTube channel. They will have the match live. If you're not a member or joined to that channel and you're not planning on joining that channel, there are some other ways you can find the game as well. Peru's YouTube had the game the last time, so they'll probably have it again. So anybody looking to find it, that's where you can find the games. Of course, if you can afford to, definitely give the JFF the support and join the membership. If that's not a feasible option for you, you can see the game live at the Peru YouTube channel. All right, Peru football YouTube channel. All right, people. So big up again for the support, all who joined and took part in the conversation. We really do appreciate it. Thanks to Jeremy Lee for calling. Thanks again to El Meeks for becoming a member today. We really do appreciate that greatly. And until next time, people, I am Jason Gooner. This is Jason Gooner TV, and we are out of here. Big up on yourself. Thanks.